Before I begin today's video, if you're looking to read some conservative news from a trusted and reliable source, check out my friends over at patriotpost.us. A link for them is in the description box. They're currently offering a free subscription, so when you go over there and subscribe, tell them that ABL sent you. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Bernie Sanders' campaign not making the $15 an hour that he has been on the campaign trail talking about for the past few years. Now, before we even get into the video, I got to back up a little bit here to explain what's going on, to give you the proper context so you understand exactly what's happening. You're not too lost in the sauce. Now, let's start from the jump. Bernie Sanders' campaign staff have unionized. They are currently negotiating with the campaign manager, Faiz Shakir. If I butchered your name, I'm sorry, but that's pretty much what I'm reading it as anyway. They are negotiating with him to get their guaranteed $15 an hour. They say they're working 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. You're talking about 60 hours per week total. They're being paid less than $13 an hour as a result because they're getting so many hours. The pay is not staying the same, is actually reducing because of the hours that they're working. They're not getting overtime apparently. They're just working more hours and getting paid less money per hour. Anyway, they're negotiating right now. Bernie Sanders came out and said something about this, talking about, well, I don't like the way they're doing it. They should stick to the process. That's how labor unions work. Don't go to the media, this, that, and the third. Wait a minute, Bernie. Aren't you the guy out there leading protests? People talking about fight for 15, this, that, and the third. They are doing what you have trained them to do. Okay, you may not have actually gone to the people in your own campaign and say, hey, don't follow the union rules and protest, but you're out there protesting and apparently not really following what a union rule set would be. But for now, I digress. So they're talking to the media and they're trying to get attention to the whole situation. It's been reported by the Washington Post, CNN, Breitbart, everybody's talking about it. Anyway, they're negotiating with the campaign manager, Faiz Shakir. Now, Faiz Shakir came back and said, okay, we'll guarantee you $15 an hour, but that'll be commensurate with a 40-hour work week. Now, what does commensurate mean? I'm glad you asked. Commensurate means in proportion to, in conjunction with. Basically, we'll give you a salary that'll be the equivalent of $15 an hour on a 40-hour week. If you work more than 40 hours, from what I'm reading and from what I'm gathering, there will not be overtime and your pay may decrease because you're only going to get that amount of money base per week. Let's do a little bit of math here so you kind of understand where I'm coming from and where the people are coming from that are in Bernie Sanders' campaign. If you are making $15 an hour on a 40-hour week, that's $600 a week. However, if you work 60 hours on that same, I guess you would call it salary of $600, you're only bringing home the equivalent of $10 an hour, not $15 an hour. And the reason why they're doing this, when I say they, I mean Bernie Sanders' campaign, the campaign manager, Faiz Shakir. The reason why they're doing this pay structure is because they probably can't afford to pay that much money over 60 hours for each employee. This is how minimum wage works. Companies are forced to pay their employees more per hour. They can't really afford it. So what are they going to do? They're going to cut or cut back on the biggest expense, which are the employees themselves, is payroll. Rather than giving them 40 hours, you give them 20 hours, 25 hours, 30 hours. Okay, that's what's happening right here because Faiz Shakir has said, all right, we're going to limit you to 40 hours per week working. However, if you're out there in the campaign, things are hectic. You got to be going here, there, everywhere. That's not enough time to get things done. I think if people that were on the campaign trail were able to work 8 hours a day rather than 10 hours a day and 5 days a week rather than 6 days a week, they do it, but it's not enough time to get everything done. So you're going to make them do the equivalent amount of work in a shorter amount of time. So they got to work harder for the same dollar amount per hour that you're supposed to get anyway, regardless of how many hours you work. That's how these companies operate. And it's hilarious to see Bernie Sanders operate in the free market way in his own campaign. But when it comes to you, the taxpaying citizen, oh, no, we don't want that. We're going to raise your taxes if you're in the business, or we're going to raise all kind of expenses on you, not only the payroll, but taxes and fees and surcharges, all kind of stuff. This is how communism operates. They do whatever they want to do, sitting high on the ivory tower in the sky, but you basically got to work for them. You got to just grind your fingers to the bone, lose all your money, and give everything to the government, and the government gets first dibs, okay? So maybe if Bernie was able to get into government, and hopefully that never happens, but maybe if he was able to get into government at a high level like the president, he'd raise taxes and use that tax money to pay his employees whatever kind of money they want to make. That's how that would work. But right now, as a private citizen, you just can't do that. So I think Bernie Sanders gave all of us a good lesson here, all right? It's called free market economics. When you raise minimum wages, expenses increase, and you got to find a way to reduce expenses. Now, some would say, oh, if you can't pay $15 an hour, you shouldn't be in business. Well, tell that to those who need that $10 an hour or that $7 an hour or $5 an hour. Tell them that their job is not worth having. Tell them that they should not have a job at all because you think they should make more money. It's absurd. The hourly wage thing has always been kind of a farce, a campaign promise. I knew Bernie Sanders was phony when I heard him say, if you work 40 hours a week, you deserve $15 an hour. I'm like, okay, you're phony right there because number one, if you're working an hourly minimum wage type job, you're not getting 40 hours usually. That's not normally the case. I mean, who's going to work minimum wage at McDonald's for 40 hours a week? That's not really how it goes. They're giving you like 20 hours, 25 hours. So he's cutting off a lot of people that work minimum wage right there. Okay, so I know, like, I can see through the whole lawyer speak and the dog whistling that people like that put out there to the media, put out there to you, the individual, because it sounds good. It's the same thing with Yang Gang, Andrew Yang, talking about UBI. Oh, $1,000 a month. But the caveat here is if you are on any kind of government assistance, you can't get UBI at the same time. So if you're a very poor person, you have a lateral move at best. All right. If you are on benefits that are the equivalent or more than UBI, you won't get any cash at all. Meanwhile, if I have more money than you, if I work and everything else, I get extra money. How does it make any sense? You are empowering those that have more money, and those that don't have any money, they're staying in the same place. Meanwhile, the floor for goods and services as far as the cost is going to increase. So the person that has less money by way of inflation, by infusing the market with fake cash, essentially, is going to be the loser here. It's very simple. So as I close, I want to say this old fight for 15 and $15 an hour and everybody deserves to get paid that amount of money. If that is the case, if Bernie Sanders really believed that, then it wouldn't be this whole process trying to negotiate with the union. He wouldn't be out there talking about, oh, you can't talk to the media. People in politics are trying to play you to get you to vote for them. Once you see them in office, you really see what's going on. You'll see how things aren't what you thought they would be through the promise, as do people that are currently in Bernie Sanders' 2020 campaign staff. So that's pretty much all I got. What say you? Are you surprised that Bernie Sanders is not paying his employees $15 an hour? If you are surprised, let me know why in the comments below. Or are you not surprised? Is it typical of the left? Do as I say, not as I do, this, that, and the third? Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.